question for whatever reason. Exxon,
What?
Chevron, and Shell report record profits in the first and second quarter of this year. And profits are fundamentally impossible if, in fact, prices are rising, right? They're rising for us, but not them, obviously.
Well, so what is going on with this? I thought the video at the top of the article did a really good job of explaining it. That young man on that video.
The young
basically
man on the video.
Like I'm an old guy referencing him. Anyway, yeah, I'm not going to do as good of a job breaking it down as he did, but basically, when consumers started to hit the road again towards the end of the pandemic, everyone's going back to work. We're shipping more and more goods across the world. Demand for oil and gas starts to shoot up. The price of oil and gas starts to go above $100 a barrel. All of a sudden, these companies, Exxon, Shell, all these giant producers are recording record profits because the profit per gallon of gasoline they're pumping is a lot higher than it's ever been for them. Now, traditionally, whenever supply is low, demand is high, and the price of the supply is really high, producers would start to produce more to make more money, right? Generate more revenue because the price of the product is really high. Let's generate more money. But because they are making these record profits at the price of what the price per gallon is, they are incentivized to just keep their overhead low, not pump as much, because they are able to, because their stock prices are shooting up for the first time in a long time. And their investors are being rewarded by this. So rather than produce more of the supply, they're going to honor their shareholders and just keep supply extremely low to keep the price high, so that they are making more profit on what they are pumping, so that they are satisfying their shareholders.
Wait, can you say that again? Keep the prices low while they're high?
No.
Or high while they're low?
No, keep the product. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Keep the production low. Keep pumping less oil to keep the price of the oil high, so that their shareholders are happy because they're making better profits. Because there's less overhead, they're making more profit per gallon pumped out of the ground.
And maybe is also because they're making more profit, more people are investing, so they're also making more on the shares increasing too. Because the shares are also increasing while this is
right.
It's like the vaccines. They're making money. It's all designed to make as much money as possible. And when it comes to the actual help they're talking about, there's no vaccines in Africa. And with the gas prices, they're obviously just making shit tons of money. And what's the holdup here? What's the holdup? And no one's saying anything.
They are all in collusion too. So the CEOs of these companies have already said there's no price per gallon that the price per barrel that the oil could get to where they're going to increase production past what their projections are over the next couple of years, which are 5%. They're only going to increase production by 5%.
What does Biden have to do with not allowing our oil companies to, not allowing us to use our own?
Well, Biden is putting pressure on them to produce more now.
Well, that's what it says, but is he actually? Because that's also what the AOC and the squad says about healthcare is we're fighting for healthcare, and then they go and vote for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House without making her sign. All she had to do was
think about it from the oil companies' perspective. They've been demonized from all these years. They've probably gotten all these different tax benefits and shit like that pulled from them from Democrats over these years. So what is incentivizing them to actually produce more? Are they going to honor Biden, or are they going to honor their shareholders? You know what I mean?
So you think Biden actually is trying to do this?
The current gas price situation is certainly not helping Biden's political agenda right now.
Because here's the thing, is because all these oil companies. These are American, like Exxon is in Irvine, Texas. And right when Biden got elected was when all this stuff, all the gas prices skyrocketed. So there's got to be some cause and effect with the president and gas prices. As much as people say, no, gas price, that's a global thing. It's happening everywhere. It's like, yeah, but who's supplying the oil? Who's the companies? And like, why did it change right when the president changed? Like, what's really happening here? So my question is Biden actually fighting, or are they working together? Because he's the poster boy of the
I don't
establishment.
know.
He is the guy that will allow he's working with the establishment. That's what I'm saying. He's the establishment. He's the guy that just allows these wheels to keep going. That's what we were talking about a while back, is if Biden gets elected, everyone's just going to go back to sleep.
Well, it's interesting that OPEC is in alignment with these American oil and gas companies as well. They're saying, well, we're not going to increase production either. We're going to keep our overhead low, keep the price of oil high, so that we keep our profits high too. So OPEC, these Middle Eastern countries and companies are also in alignment. Now, are they slipping Biden and his administration some money on the back? I don't know. Maybe. Probably.
What changed with the presidents that the oil company?
I don't know that it changed with the president. Like the explanation from the video that from on this article is that the change was at the end of the pandemic, basically, whenever people really started to full blown have demand for consumer goods really high, where we're shipping shit across the world. Like that's it, for you need fuel for airlines, for shipping, and for these big shipping boats and shit like that. Trucks driving across the country to get goods to people, and then people just returning to work, right? All that stuff kind of coincided with this changeover of the presidency as well, if you think about it, which if you were thinking about it from a conspiratorial standpoint, Biden would make himself look good. And I say Biden's administration, because I think Biden's kind of going with the flow of whatever people are telling him to do. His administration would make themselves look good by starting to lift those restrictions when they came into office. And did they not do that?
I don't know. Did they?
Yeah, everything started to get laxed here in the last couple of years as it relates to the pandemic. So anyway, people are out and about again. So the demand is super high, which is what's causing the price of oil and gas to be super high. But they could produce more and drive the cost down if there were more supply to hit the market, but they're just not incentivized in any way, shape, or form to do so, because there's a shortage of workers. The cost of entry is high. It costs a lot to actually pump oil and drill more. You have more overhead whenever you have to drill more. So there's no incentive for them to actually go out and spend money on more production whenever they can just keep their profit margin super high. I don't know. Maybe there is some collusion happening there between these companies and the government.
Yeah. Seems
like Biden can do something to incentivize these companies to drill more, right? Like there's been this big anti-oil and gas push over the past couple of years with this ESG agenda. So maybe this is a retaliatory move against the Biden administration from the oil and gas companies. Mm-hmm. They're like, fuck you. We're not going to pump more oil and gas when you need us to now. We're going to just keep our shareholders happy. Go fuck yourself.
So that's interesting. There seems to be this apparent emphasis, not from you, but just from the facts, that these large private companies are just playing business.
Yeah.
But here we are in the real world paying gas prices, talking about politics and this and that. No, it means the economy's good, or it means this, or global had nothing to do with this, and has nothing to do with that. It's all just a natural organism functioning like it should be.
I'm not saying that, but
no, you're not saying it. I'm just trying to capture the whole of the sentiment I've been getting just from watching the surface of this happen. So it's like high gas prices has been a result of just how things work right now because of the pandemic and shit.
Well, there's predatory practices at play. These companies could be increasing production, which would
exactly that's what I'm saying.
Which would help them they would make money because the price is high, but it would be short term, right? It would be short lived because as soon as supply caught up with demand, price of oil goes down. Now your profit margins aren't where they were, and you've added all these additional drilling rigs and this additional overhead that now you got to pay for. So you got to just continue to increase production to this is weird balancing act you got to maintain as a business owner, right? So it's tricky.
Yeah, and it's like it seems. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Is it has seemed political, like it's just embedded in the way the global infrastructure is working.
Definitely.
But when you look at
it's largely actually controlled by OPEC too, right? When it comes to this, because they can turn the spigot on and off whenever they want, because they have the dominant control of the world's oil supply. So this coalition of Middle Eastern nations, if they wanted to really make a president look bad, they could be like, fuck you, bitch. I'm going to tighten the spigot a little bit, make the price of oil go up. Gas is going to go through the roof, and I'm going to tank your political campaign because I don't agree with your political ideals.
Yeah.
And you're not giving me what I want politically. So,
yeah, that's like
it could be political, right? But there could be foreign actors at play here as well.
It could be, but what I'm saying is if you go out and talk to people about the gas prices, they'll say political things.
Right.
That will dismiss the issue as just something we got to get through. And one look at the issue is very clear. It's quite the opposite. It's just big corporations
businesses being
big
business.
Corporations.
Yeah.
And here we are, just another issue that's just going down the river because people are absorbing information that
fine. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. No,
cleverly dismisses these issues.
It's really the company's fault.
The mainstream media establishment creates these cleverly worded narratives that people dismiss the issue instead of protesting or anything. It's just weird. It's weird how lackadaisical, I think is the word, people are about this issue if it ever comes up. I think about this
price of gas.
Yeah, I think
people are lackadaisical about that. People are pretty fired up about that.
Yeah, but like they're about the wrong thing. About the wrong thing. When they talk about the issue, they're just like, yeah, it's this and yeah, it's that.
Fucking Biden.
That's what I'm saying. It's everything
down here. It's fucking Biden, that motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And then over here, it's not Biden. It's the war in Russia and things around the world, and because of this and sanctions and COVID and
Putin's price hike,
vaccine, and everybody should have got vaccinated. Everybody should have got vaccinated. So what I'm saying is, lackadaisically, people say the issues they think is the problem,
right?
And none of it's the problem. It's so simply, and these companies like run media, they buy all kind of shit. But anyway, I'm glad to be here to poke holes in the way the world works. And
yeah, me too. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, sit back and say I told you so when the world continues to burn.